Recorded Books presents Wild Minds, the artists and rivalries that inspired the golden age of animation, by Reid Mitenbuler. Narrated by Kevin R. Free. Prologue. Make Us Another. Otto Messmer was eager. For fame, for riches, for his big break. At night he could look into the sky above West Hoboken, New Jersey, and see the glow from Manhattan's lights, barely 2 miles east and yet a world away. He was a struggling young newspaper cartoonist, only 23 years old, on the verge of joining that more dazzling world across the Hudson River. This was in 1915, when the newspaper business was still healthy, at the peak of its clout and reach. Talented artists working within its system were rewarded handsomely. At the New York Journal, a star cartoonist like Winsor McCay made more than $50,000 a year in syndication, a sum that afforded him multiple homes, chauffeur-driven sedans, and the kind of bold wardrobe choices you don't often find in the closets of people with less eccentric careers. It was a grand lifestyle, and one just starting to come within Messmer's grasp. His work was occasionally published in the New York World, and sometimes featured in Punch, Life, and Judge, the most prestigious humor magazines of the day. But there was a problem. These sporadic freelance appearances didn't yet provide a stable living. Dry spells could mean washing his laundry in a bucket of cold water, or having to order the smellier cuts of meat from the butcher. Success seemed close, but he still needed a steady job. One day, in search of additional work, Messmer packed a portfolio of drawings under his arm and headed to Fort Lee, New Jersey, several miles to the north. In the earliest years of the movie business, before people realized that Hollywood had better light and cheaper taxes, Fort Lee was a leading center of the film industry. Visitors there might catch a glimpse of glamorous stars like Lionel Barrymore posing for photographers, the wind dancing in his hair, or perhaps D.W. Griffith standing next to his camera, shouting into a bullhorn. Messmer hoped to show his portfolio of drawings to the studios and get a job painting background sets for the movies. Messmer presented his work at Universal, then just an upstart studio. Among his sample drawings was a flip book featuring a short cartoon about the war then happening in Europe. At this point, animation was still very new. Some argued that it could blossom into a great art form, while others said it would never be more than a novelty. The debate was still up in the air. A few movie studios, including Universal, thought animated cartoons had entertainment potential, that they could be used as a kind of hors d'oeuvre before main features. When Messmer presented his little flipbook, the hiring man paused. "Look, don't you know they're starting animation?" he asked. "You look like you could fit in that." Messmer was excited, but also worried. He had included the flipbook only to make his portfolio look thicker. He had no real understanding of how animation was done on a larger scale, nor did he know whom to ask. It was still a new and mysterious craft. The few people doing it guarded their methods as secrets, the same as magicians with their tricks. Messmer told the hiring man he was interested, but admitted he had no idea what he was doing. The hiring man just shrugged. "Go ahead and see what you can do." Messmer figured out the basics and made a 1-minute test cartoon entitled Motor Matt, about a reckless driver who fixes a flat tire by blowing a smoke ring with his cigar and using it as a spare. To Messmer's mind, this was what cartoons should be. Wild and fantastic, immune to the logic of physics or reality. Animation could magically bring to life worlds and ideas that live action couldn't. When other Universal executives saw the cartoon, they gave Messmer a humble space where he could work on his ideas. It wasn't even a proper office, just a rickety desk wedged into an open area between 2 film sets. Since movies were still silent in those days, the space was noisy from directors on different projects shouting over each other, competing to be heard.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?